Breaking news, Tinubu in trouble because Tinubu are far better. Others accused of fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. My people, this is really tough and interesting. But anyway, guys, please ensure you sit back, relax, and enjoy this. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have not subscribed, ensure you give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you get updated anytime we drop a new video. Without any further ado, without nothing, let us quickly see what is happening and why is Tinubu under pressure and why is he accused of fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. Okay, Dapo Akpara, a Nigerian chartered accountant, has accused the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, a consulting firm, Alpha Beta, and a former commissioner of the state, Akin Doherty, of money laundering, fraud, tax evasion, and sundry corrupt practices. Mr. Akpara, in writ of summons deposed at a Lagos High Court, claimed that Mr. Tinubu and Alpha Beta reneged on certain agreements reached in the past about the management and control of the consulting firm. Alpha Beta is a consulting firm handling the computation, tracking, and reconciliation of internally generated revenue (IGR) in Lagos State in return for commission. Mr. Akpara, who claims to own 30% stake in the company, alleged that Mr. Tinubu has directed and dictated the affairs of the company by diverting assets to himself at the detriment of the claimant, Mr. Akpara. Mr. Akpara claimed that apart from owning 30% stake in the company, other stakeholders are Michael Ogumola, trading under the name and style Mono Consulting, 40%, Tunde Badejo, trading under the name and style Ebo Consults, 15%, and again Tunde Badejo, trading under the name and style Integrave Service, 15%. He also claimed that the company was being used for massive corruption, purposely including tax evasion, bribery of government officials, diversion of funds, and money laundering. The 40-page writ of summons seen was issued by Mr. Akpara's lawyer, Tade Ikpadiola. Details of the claims include an order compelling an account of all sums due to Mr. Akpara from 2010 till date, an order tracing all funds and assets due to him from the inception of the company to date, an order of specific performance of certain clauses of the partnership agreement that created a company by extant partners, an order for payment to the claimants by the defendants, all sums adjourned to be due to him on the submission of the accounts, and payment of 10% interest on the sum adjourned to be due to him. The first, second, and third defendants, according to the writ, include Alpha Beta Consulting, Ahmed Tinubu, and Mr. Doherty, respectively. Mr. Tinubu was Lagos governor between 1999 and 2007, while Mr. Doherty served in different capacities in Mr. Tinubu's government, notably as Commissioner for Finance between 2005 and 2007. Tade Ikpadiola, Mr. Akpara claimed that sometimes in 2000, he solely conceived, prepared, and presented a proposal to the Lagos State government on providing consultancy service using his firm, Infinity Systems Enterprise, with respect to using computerization to track and reconcile the internally generated revenue of the state. Following the presentation of his proposal to the Lagos State government, Mr. Akpara claimed that Mr. Tinubu, who was at the time the governor of Lagos State, demanded a 70% equity interest in the project be assigned to a certain Olumide Ogumola before he will approve the project. Mr. Akpara said he then met the said Mr. Ogumola, who he had never met before, and it was agreed that a limited liability company be incorporated in which Mr. Akpara will hold 30% shares, while Mr. Ogumola and his partners will hold 70% shares of the company. Alpha Beta Consulting Limited was incorporated in 2002 with a shareholding ratio that shows that 30% was allocated to him, Mr. Akpara, 40% for Mr. Ogumola, and 30% for Adegboyega Oyetola. It remains unclear if the said Mr. Oyetola is the incumbent governor of Osun State, a close ally of Mr. Tinubu. Mr. Akpara said that upon the commencement of business operation, Mr. Tinubu directed that 30% share holding of Mr. Oyetola be transferred to one Tunde Badejo, and this was done. He added that although he was a signatory to all the bank accounts of the company, payment from the bank accounts required only two signatories, which was mostly handled between the other two partners, Messrs. Ogumola and Badejo. After the incorporation of Alpha Beta Consulting Limited in 2002, and the company, Mr. Akpara said it was structured according to the dictates of Mr. Tinubu. In his official capacity as the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Tinubu thereafter approved that Alpha Beta Consulting Limited be awarded consultancy contract for the assessment and collection on behalf of Lagos State government. All taxes and internally generated revenue due and payable to the state at 10% consultancy fee, subject to a benchmark which varies from time to time. He noted further that due to the technology deployed by him, the internally generated revenue of the state grew from a base of about 10 billion naira in 2002 to over 300 billion in 2019. In 2010 or thereabouts, he alleged Mr. Tinubu directed that the incorporation structure of the Alpha Beta Consulting Limited be changed from a limited liability company to a limited liability company partnership under a newly promulgated law of the Lagos State government. Mr. Akpara said Mr. Tinubu explained to him that the purpose was to further shield his involvement in Alpha Beta Consulting Limited from public scrutiny. This was done in 2010. Mr. Akpara claimed that Mr. Tinubu thereafter directed that Mr. Ogumola be designated as managing partner of Alpha Beta Consulting Limited, LLP. While he was designated as deputy managing partner, he explained further that in 2014, Mr. Tinubu directed that Mr. Ogumola should be seized being the managing partner, and he, Mr. Akpara, then became the managing partner with access to review the financial records. But things took a dramatic turn sometimes in 2016 when Mr. Tinubu told him he had received feedback that he, Mr. Akpara, was reviewing past financial records of the company and he was displeased with this action. He claimed Mr. Tinubu thereafter announced that he intends to bring Mr. Doherty into the management of the company as managing director to take over the financial management of the company, while Mr. Akpara should revert to his former role as deputy managing director and not get involved in the company's financial affairs. The second defendant, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also warned the claimant not to even think of exposing his involvement in the financial affairs of the first defendant to the EFCC, as the then acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, will always protect him. The second defendant, Mr. Akpara, said in the writ. The second defendant, Mr. Tinubu, also threatened to use the agencies of the Lagos State government, such as Lagos State Internal Revenue Service and the Lagos State Building Control Agency, to harass and seize the assets of the claimants if the claimant ever betrayed him. Mr. Akpara said he disagreed with Mr. Tinubu's request and he should revert to the role of a deputy. Instead, the claimant agreed with the second defendant that he would transition to a consultant to the first defendant to manage the technology and get remunerated on a monthly basis for this task, he claimed. Thereafter, the third defendant was brought to the office premises of the first defendant by Mr. Tunde Badejo, a partner, and introduced the staff as the new managing director of the first defendant. Thereafter, Mr. Tunde Badejo told the claimant that if the claimant ever came to the office of the first defendant, he, Mr. Tunde Badejo, will terminate the life of the claimant. This incident was reported to the police in 2018 and is under investigation. When the police commenced investigation into this complaint by the plaintiff in 2018, the second defendant, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, interfered in the police investigation to frustrate it. Mr. Akpara said that despite being a signatory to the company's account from 2018 to date, Mr. Badejo and Tinubu had colluded to operate the bank accounts of the bank accounts amongst themselves without his involvement, contrary to the subsisting mandate, which stipulates that he and Mr. Badejo jointly sign any amount as a signatory. apart from a limit of 10 million naira monthly, which may be signed jointly by any A and a B signatory. The B signatory was designated by Mr. Bode Oluyemi, an employee of the company. Suspicious that his signature was being forged to enable the Mr. Tinubu to operate the bank accounts of the company without his involvement, Mr. Akpara claimed that he wrote to the bankers of the company in February revoking his mandate for any debt transaction. So guys, more details of this I'll bring to you, but ensure that you stay tuned and turn on your notification bell. Thank you for being here, and wait for the remaining parts. Bye for now.